When you're the best, you do things with style. J.J. McQuade is the best. He's a lone wolf lawman in the Lone Star State.
Your record is unrivaled.
Hey guys, I'm Kevin.
I'm Jake.
And this is Movie Matters. Today we're talking about the 1983 film Lone Wolf McQuade.
Our 50th movie.
Is it? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wish it was a better movie.
Oh, dude. This movie fucking rips, dude. I loved this movie. I thought it was so awesome. Because it's so over the top. Real quick, I want to read just the IMDb plot description because it's amazing. When we first, just a little backstory, when we first were setting up this podcast, like, this movie jumped out at me just literally from this plot description. I was like, yeah, we gotta fucking do this movie. And this was definitely inspiration for this podcast for sure. So I'm glad we're finally getting into it. So in my opinion, having it be the 50th movie, that's awesome. And I didn't even know that. So that's perfect. All right. So the plot description: after helping the local police with some horse thieves, a Texas Ranger aims at a drug lord with arms trades as well. They're interested in the same woman, and they're both into martial arts. This movie fucking ripped for me. I loved it. I thought it was so over the top and awesome and just goofy and fun. I mean, there's some parts where it lulls. It's a little long of a movie, in my opinion, in certain areas, but it just was so fun and hilarious, and I was laughing my ass off the whole time.
So I'll agree. It's wild. It's entertaining. You're 100% correct. It's like almost 40 minutes too long, in my opinion. Like it's like exactly 2 hours on the dot, almost. I think
it was a hour and 47 minutes. Yeah, hour and 47. What fucking version did you watch?
I don't know. It felt like 2 hours.
Extended cut with more. Yeah. Karate chops and shit.
Yeah, no. I don't know. I had to watch it on Prime, so maybe they included the ads at the beginning or something. But I don't know. It said it was 2 hours long, so
interesting.
I don't know. But anyway,
it did feel a little long, but like, it was good.
Hour and 20 minutes would have been fine. The action sequences are good. Lots of hip firing Uzis, and you can't really
with unlimited ammo.
Yeah, you can't really complain about it.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's a couple things that bugged me.
Yeah, I didn't take it too serious when I was watching it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting anything like fantastic, but
yeah,
I mean, it was still just not as. I thought it was going to be a bit more action heavy than it actually was.
Okay, I see that. More, you wanted a little more commando in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's got that vibe.
It wasn't bad. It's just like there's a lot of like personal interaction scenes that like I just didn't give a shit about. like they kind of shoehorned in some like fist fights and stuff, but like they didn't really make sense.
Oh yeah,
a lot of the times, and it was kind of like, okay, like this isn't necessary, and it could have saved me, like I said, like a decent chunk of time in watching the movie.
Yeah, I could agree with you there.
I mean, it's all right. It's all right.
Well, I just, we both just finished watching this, so obviously we have to digest it a little more, in my opinion. But there's some fun trivia I found on it. So apparently this is one of the most popular movie-based drinking games. So every time they say the word Ranger, you take a drink.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that would be so much fun to play. Like, that sounds awesome. Also, how on earth is this movie PG? Like,
Yeah.
there's the F words used twice. They're like, there's so many more ethnic slurs, or like not ethnic slurs, but like all the like Mexican people in the beginning are like "chinga tu madre" and like saying,
Yeah,
saying
sure.
like all these like bad words in Spanish, and it's like it's so. I was laughing every time I heard that because it was just like overused.
Well,
And
his partner says it like every time anything happens too.
it was awesome. But yeah, the apparently the film was originally going to be rated R because of its violence and the uses of the word fuck. And Chuck Norris told the ratings boards that the film was a story where good defeats evil, and therefore it should be suitable for a PG rating. So the rating board agreed and changed it to PG. Like, what?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of dumb.
So dumb.
But,
He was
like-
probably like literally threatening him to like fucking kick their ass.
Judo chop
And was like,
them
yeah,
in the
he's like,
throat.
you better put a PG, otherwise you guys are fucked.
But like at this time, this is 83.
Yeah.
So PG-13 didn't exist yet.
No.
Which this could easily be PG-13, I think. And like the two F-bombs are pretty easily missed if you're like,
I don't remember the second
not-
one. I remember the first one.
yeah, if you're not really paying attention, it's easy to miss them.
Yeah.
And like the Spanish swearing is Spanish, so
Doesn't
whatever,
count.
it doesn't count. The violence is, I mean, there is a lot of violence in this movie. There's not a lot of blood,
Correct.
so
I agree.
it's not bloody, gory violence.
Yeah.
Like it's almost on par with like Indiana Jones violence, where there's like a lot of people
Yeah.
getting shot, but it's just kind of like, and like they fall off a building or whatever. Like it's not like
Blood
Commando
squibs
where
and-
there's like
yeah.
people's heads getting like sawed off, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I would
So,
agree with that.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, I guess if your option is R or PG, I'd probably lean more towards PG for this. But
It's just funny. I don't know. It just makes me
it
laugh
is
whenever
it is pretty funny.
it's like, oh yeah, like, you could be super young and watch it, and I don't know. It's just funny. Apparently, John Milius worked on the screenplay and did an uncredited rewrite on it. So John Milius from Conan, who we just did 2 movies ago. I thought that was interesting. The soundtrack in this movie is awesome. Did you like it?
It's pretty hardcore 80s, but
It's
also
very Western.
it sprinkles in some of that like spaghetti Western stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's very Ennio Morricone, who did like Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's got that very awesome, like, heroes theme type of
Yeah.
soundtrack. And apparently the guy who did the score, Francesco Di Masi, was heavily influenced by all the spaghetti westerns, and this movie is basically an homage to spaghetti westerns, which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, this is like, it's like the Old West. It's very, very Texas,
Yeah, it's for sure a modern Western.
Yeah.
And like also in some ways it's almost like a noir Western. Where it's a little bit like you've got the femme fatale, and though she's not a great femme fatale, but she's okay.
Yeah.
She's running around without a bra for the entire movie. Which is kind of like unnecessary, but
Yeah. I love the line that Dakota says, the character Dakota, where he's just like, what does he say? He's like, man, I'd love to take a bite out of that ass and get lockjaw, basically.
yeah.
Oh, I was just like, that line was insane. This movie is very, like, it reminds me of, like, Roadhouse a little bit, where it's just, like, the lines are over the top, the dialogue, the action, it's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it is. I don't know. It's just fun.
One of the things we talked about with Roadhouse is that it was like you could tell the writers were like, what's the most badass thing somebody can say? And they overthought it.
Yeah.
It ended up being like really shitty lines.
Very cheesy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like even the beginning is awesome, where it's the horse thieves, and like I liked the action right off the bat, where he's like the Lone Ranger hiding in the back, and he like snipes out their trucks so they can't drive, and then the one gang leader gets pissed and like shoots one of the cops, which I was like, whoa, like I didn't expect that, but like it felt like a realistic thing to do, of like, all right, well, you're gonna fuck this shit up, I'm just gonna kill this hostage, which I was like, certain things like that for this movie kind of like, I was like, oh shit, like this is cool, like this is it felt different to me.
Yeah, I like that. The beginning part of the movie really sucked me in. So I was like, oh, this is like, a little more, I don't know what the right, like, kind of way to describe it is, but it's a little more like, there's like stakes, and there's like actual stakes, I guess.
Yeah.
But then they have a gunfight and they're 10 feet apart and nobody can hit someone. So it's a little,
the epitome of this movie, though.
Yeah, it's a little
like less than
I don't
10
know.
feet.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. What I kept thinking through the entire thing is this feels like a TV show that's 2 hours long or an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
The way it's filmed is very TV show. The scripting is very TV show. The pacing is very TV show. It's very short scenes, just kind of stacked together.
Yeah.
And like it just reminds me of like Magnum PI or like,
did you ever watch Texas Ranger?
No,
Texas
I
Ranger?
haven't.
So I mean, obviously that's Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
And I used to watch that show as a kid, and I don't remember a lot of it, but I thought it was super entertaining. It's very like this. And apparently the like producers of this movie sued the producers of Walker, Texas Ranger, because they were like, it's like the identical thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very TV show like. Yeah, very, very goofy in some parts. Like you said, they're like 10 feet away from each other, shooting at each other. Like, and I think I don't want to jump.
Like 12 by 12 office and shooting at each other and no one hits anybody.
And then are you talking about where they go into that like sewing factory or whatever the heck it was? Yeah. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but
hippie guy.
Yeah, the like Coke dealer or whatever named Snow, which is so stupid of a name. But like they come in the entrance exit like doors. They're standing right in front of them shooting point blank at these guys, and the Snow guy goes out of those doors.
Yeah.
Which was like, I was like, no way. I was like, that was so dumb. But again, it's, it was, and that kind of brings me to like the editing of the movie. The editing isn't great.
It's not. Yeah. There's multiple times where people are not in the position that they were in the previous shot. It's it's not great.
But again, I like this movie. I knew, again, just reading that plot description, like I knew this movie wasn't going to be amazing, but it was like, it just was, it's mindless popcorn action. And that's what I stacked it up to. And that's why I enjoyed it so much. Especially with new movies coming out. I don't know what it is, man. Lately, these new movies that I've been watching, I just can't get into them. Like you said, this movie kind of has stakes in the beginning a little bit, but like these new movies that I'm seeing in theaters just don't do it for me. And like, I watched this movie that's from the 80s that's like shitty and terrible, but so much fun. And I love it so much more than these new movies coming out. It's mind-boggling. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think part of it too is that like this movie is great Americana. It's about a Texas Ranger, which is a very like American thing. He's fighting drug cartels, which is super 80s. It's got the like it's got it's almost like a Taken kind of scenario near the end where his daughter's kidnapped and he's got to go save her kind of thing. And like, there's just a lot of like,
Classic action tropes.
Classic action tropes for sure. Yeah.
Of American cinema for sure.
Yes. And like we said, it's very much kind of a contemporary Western, and like really drives home a lot of those like Western themes of like the reluctant hero, even though like he's a Texas Ranger, but like he just wants to get drunk at his house when he's not on duty and like chill out.
Yeah.
And, like everybody's trying
and
to drag him into all
alone.
this shit.
Yeah.
And like, lady tries to clean his house and he's like, what the fuck?
Dude, that part was so weird and so pointless.
Yeah.
Just vacuuming his house, singing. And then, like, dude, his house is a disaster.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's so bad. And then just every beer that he opens shoots beer like 10 feet in the air.
Yeah,
like
he's
every
totally
single beer in this movie.
unfazed.
Yeah. Like I was laughing my ass off. Like he literally like does it right in front of her. Like he's like, "Where's my beer?" And it's like in the trash can.
Everywhere.
He grabs it. Yeah. And I think the best instance of him drinking beer is when he gets his ass kicked because he gets captured, and then he gets like he gets buried in his truck, and he's just like, "I need this beer as fuel," and just fucking pours it over himself, and just like starts drinking it, and, like spits it out, and then drives this truck out of like 10 feet of fucking dirt, which is like not plausible at all. But also badass and awesome. Like, come on, like that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that was super fun.
This movie's way earlier than Lethal Weapon, but I get a lot of the same vibes as Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, where he's kind of this like on the edge of like sanity kind of law enforcement officer who's like got nothing left to lose, type of thing. Even though like McQuade has a lot to lose, but he kind of acts like he doesn't, which is interesting. But again, like I think it's just not great writing.
Yeah, and like the whole, I mean, I like his daughter in this. His like ex-wife is weird, and like I don't know, like the relationship's like really good, and it's like it's interesting.
Yeah, she's not like necessary.
Yeah.
Also, at the end, the very end, he's gonna get in the car with his ex-wife and his daughter to go to wherever like they're moving to, and his partner, Las Cruces, and his partner rolls up. He's like, "We got a bank robbery hostage situation." McQuade's like, "I'm on vacation. Like, I gotta go with my family." And he's like, "But there's hostages, McQuade." And he's like, looks back at his family, and his wife's like, "Come on, McQuade, let's go." Like she like doesn't give a shit about these hostages.
Like innocent people, yeah. Like you gotta help us move.
Robbery. Like what? What a shitty family.
Yeah. Like I would understand if you have to go. Like that's your job.
Dude, it's your job.
But it's also
go
like
save people.
who wants to fucking move?
Yeah, right.
Like I don't want to move. Like that's a great excuse. Go save some hostages instead of moving.
For real.
I love that ending. I know we're jumping way ahead, but I love that ending because it's hilarious. And I remember I was like literally just watching it. And I was like, that's how it's gonna end. That's fucking awesome. Oh yeah, it's just it's just hilarious and it's fun. It's so 80s and. It's like you said, it's very Americana. I mean, they shot this all in El Paso, Texas, which is really cool. That's such a small town, and it's shot really, like, pretty well. Like, shows the landscape really well, in my opinion.
Yeah. Overall, it's shot pretty well. There's a couple times, I don't know if this is an editing thing like we talked about or not, but, like, there's a few times where they do that TV thing where they are like too close to the action and like it's kind of throws you off, and then they go to a wide shot and like it's like okay, like but like I don't know like it is kind of a TV thing, and I think it was because your TV screens used to be so small, you'd want to blow up, the actors' faces as much as possible, so that people could really see, like their expressions and stuff. But like this was a movie. Like I feel like the writers or the director or somebody had worked heavily in TV before doing this movie, and then brought all of those kind of tropes from whatever
techniques.
Yeah.
Steve Carver. Steve Carver's the director. I wonder if he's done a lot of TV.
Because me and my wife were just watching this clip of Magnum PI, which is probably from around this time in the early 80s. And Magnum's walking up to a convent, and there's a nun painting like the wall outside on a ladder. He says like, "Good day, ma'am," and she's like, "Oh, thank you." And like he walks by, and he's like, "Nuns don't work on Sunday." She turns around, whips out a gun, and he like rolls on the ground and blows her away. But it's
That's
shot
awesome.
in the exact same way that this movie's shot. Like 100%.
I just looked it up. This guy he's done just like shitty movies.
It's interesting.
So
I mean,
maybe
that was
he
just...
was like a PA or like a production assistant on like those movies or excuse me, TV shows, but who knows? It makes sense.
It's also like it could just be the style.
Yeah.
Because this is like prime B movie. It could just be like, we got to do this cheap, so we got to do it, as efficiently as possible. So.
Yeah. I think I do like my favorite shot is kind of in the beginning where he like comes out and faces that gang that's stealing the horses, and it's like the silhouette of him, very Western with his, cowboy hat on. Like that shot is so good. And they show it at the end too. Like when they're doing the freeze frame credits, which very, very classic TV show-esque and 80s-esque, which is awesome. And it reminds me of Predator every time.
Yeah.
If and there's like this video, and I think I showed it to you of like Predator when they put like a different like theme to it, like they put like the Full House theme to it or something like that, and like you could do that to the end of this movie and it'd be hilarious. Mm-hmm. But look, I think I love the part where he's like at his like house or ranch or whatever the fuck he is at, like his like shithole house. He like has this like gun range set up, and he's just shirtless fucking shooting, and like takes a shotgun and is like shooting all these targets, and like
blows his targets to bits.
Yeah. his like in the future his partner's like looking through binoculars and is like, my God. Like what a boss. So good. Like Jesus Christ,
doing some
it's Jason Bourne. Yeah. Just awesome. And then you've got his like Ram Charger truck that's super badass, and he turns on like the supercharger in it, and it just makes it like whine like a son of a bitch, which is hilarious. And then, I mean, you jump up, you jump into like it gets very into karate into the movie. Like David Carradine's character is just like, I hear you're good with your hands and feet.
Which is such a weird line.
I love that. And then he's just like at this like exhibition match in the middle of this fucking like town square. It's like race or a horse track. I don't even know where the fuck it's
like
at.
a like horse race day.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do this like kickboxing match in the parking lot." Like, what the fuck? Like,
and he's just like, "Do you want to go, McQuade?" It's like, I don't fight for money. So awesome. And then he ends up like his partner starts getting his ass kicked, and then he just like fucking throws people and just like,
demolishes like 7 guys.
It's awesome. It's so fun, man. It's so cool. And then you've got this, and I hope I'm politically correct here, this dwarf in this in this electric wheelchair that is completely pointless in this movie.
Oh yeah.
That's just like watching from afar and like laughing his ass off.
The secret room had me rolling. Like he's like talking to McQuade, and he's just like, "I'll see you later," and his fucking wall like spins around and he disappears. It's like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, that character was so pointless, but
So
also
pointless.
but also like it was needed because that was amazing.
I mean, it's funny, but like,
Yeah,
he's supposed to be like the main villain, and like he does
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
no, and like they just leave him in Mexico at the end, which is hilarious. Just like
Just
he literally just like McQuade just threatens his like henchman. He's like, "You want to go for like round 2?" And the guy's like, guy doesn't even say
No.
anything, and they
Yeah,
just
the
like,
guy
and they just like,
moves.
they just they steal the helicopter. They just fucking bounce.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man. Like shit like that is just hilarious. It was so fun. Yeah, so I want to talk about the love triangle between Lola, Rowley, and McQuade. It's really interesting because at the end it's revealed that Lola was like, her husband was killed by Rowley, and she just like was forced to be his like girlfriend, which was weird. And she's like making out with him in the beginning of the movie, and then she's, you know, trying to mac on McQuade, and it was just, I don't know, I didn't buy it. Like you said, like her vacuuming in his apartment was random as fuck and hilarious. It's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, I just didn't buy their relationship.
But then, like, when she's dying, doesn't she say something like, "I couldn't betray you," or
Yeah.
something like that? So, like, it was kind of a ploy, but also wasn't. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I feel like they tried to justify it, and we're like, whatever. Like, and just kind of threw that in at the end, you know?
Yeah,
But-
just slipped it in there. It was interesting. Apparently during the like love scene at McQuade's place, a rattlesnake slithered up the bed sheets while they were filming.
Jeez.
And luckily one of the crew members like grabbed it real quick. So I mean that's the desert for you. El Paso's a desert, and like, you know, there's snakes and shit, and especially in the shithole he lives in, I'm sure there's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But like,
Surprised they didn't get one when they were like rolling around in the mud or whatever.
yeah, that scene
Like
was goofy
20-minute
as fuck.
scene that's like just rolling in mud and spraying each other with a hose.
Yeah, and the poor wolf dog gets wet. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm pissed they killed the dog in it. I'm like,
Yeah.
the wolf. Like, I mean, I get it. It's like it's perfect for revenge. I mean, look at John Wick. But
Also
it wasn't
unnecessary.
needed. Yeah, it wasn't needed. I don't like in movies when animals get killed.
And the guy, he puts a silencer on his Uzi just to shoot the dog, and then he takes it off. It's like, what
Yeah.
the?
Yeah,
Like, okay.
just trying to be cool, and like,
Yeah.
so it's, yeah. And then they were like, that was like post love scene, and they're
Yeah.
like going to his window, and they're gonna kill him through the window, and they didn't like silence. It's like, yeah, what? I don't know. It's dumb.
Again,
Maybe.
5 feet away, couldn't fucking hit a barn door.
Yeah. And you know, there's, I just didn't like that they killed the wolf. And then it's
Yeah.
like right when that happened, I'm like, yeah, these guys fucked up big time. And then I knew he was going to go for revenge because of that. But I like that pretty much every character gets shot in this movie. Like no one is safe, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like his daughter's boyfriend gets fucking wrecked
Yeah.
in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then
he's toast.
Yeah.
For sure.
And Bobby, no. And then she gets pushed off a cliff in a car, which was, I was
Yeah.
like, fucking, whoa. It was just cool because, like, I don't know. These characters are expendable, and I like that. I like that in movies where it's like, you don't know if they're going to live or die. I mean, granted, this is a goofy movie, and it's like, who cares? But
Yeah.
I like that. It makes it unpredictable, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
But like his daughter gets shot in the leg, which is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, when Lola dies, she gets fucking like wrecked by a machine gun from Rowley.
Yeah.
McQuade gets shot in the arm. The like FBI dude, I forget it's like Jackson or something like that.
Yeah,
or
he gets shot in like the stomach or something.
Yeah, and then his partner gets shot, and like everyone gets fucked up, and it's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Which the end, the big gunfight at the whatever the bad guys like base or camp or whatever.
Yeah.
Those guys are a little too fast and loose with the bazookas. Like they shoot a bazooka as McQuade, his daughter, and what's her face are walking upstairs, and it blows up in front of them and sends people flying, and they're like, "Oh, we're not going up those stairs." It's like his buddy is like just letting those rip like left and right.
letting the rockets rip. Well, it's also funny because like he's like doing it out in the wide open.
Yeah.
And
everybody's like just taking a knee in the middle of like there's like cover everywhere, and everyone's just standing in the middle of the street like taking a knee and like shooting. It's like
yeah. Again,
okay.
It's fun. It adds to the adds to the charm of the movie. It's so bad it's good. It's fun. I mean the ending fight scene is cool. I mean, I like that. You know, David Carradine with his hands and stuff was hilarious. And when asked to comment on David Carradine's martial arts skills, so Chuck Norris is like a fucking G when it comes to martial arts. I don't know if you know anything about his background.
No, I just know that he like actually trained and like knows his stuff.
Oh yeah, he was like the top US guy for karate. Like he's the champion of like the fucking US. And he's in a movie, I think it's called The Way of the Dragon, with Bruce Lee in the 70s. And he literally he was chosen specifically by Bruce Lee because he was the champion, and like Bruce Lee was, you know, oh, I want to beat the champion, you know, kind of that cocky attitude that Bruce Lee has, but which I've never seen that movie and I want to watch it. But you may have seen like it's parodied when, you know, they take their clothes off or whatever, like their shirts off, and they're about to fight Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, and they put like a like Careless Whisper to it. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's funny. It's like
right.
It's like music in movies really makes a difference of how it'll be perceived, and that's a pretty famous scene. Again, it's on my list to watch, and I'm definitely going to watch it. But so when he was asked about David Carradine's martial arts skills, Chuck Norris said, "David Carradine is every bit as good at martial arts as I am an actor." Which is hilarious. He's basically saying like I'm a shit actor and that guy's a shit fucking karate master. But apparently there was no stunt doubles used during that entire fight sequence, which is awesome. And it's done so well. And because
it's goofy, but it is actually the actual execution of like the choreography is pretty good.
It's very Roadhouse, like where he rips the dude's throat.
It's a lot of
like
hand motion stuff. And, but
But pretty cool that they didn't use stunt doubles, because they like both insisted, because they're both like, like we know what we're doing, which is hilarious. And it's also rumored that Chuck Norris and David Carradine broke out in a real fight during this, because Chuck Norris thought he was getting Carradine was kicking him too hard, but apparently Carradine debunked this rumor and was like, no, we never touched each other, we were very professional. So, but it was also written into David Carradine's contract that he could not be defeated in hand-to-hand combat. And that's why he blows
up in a house.
Exactly. That's fucking
hilarious.
Ridiculous. Which that scene is hilarious.
It is funny. It is not super satisfying though.
No.
I kind of wanted to see him
get blown to bits or
pay
get his
for
ass
it,
kicked.
a little bit, and instead he just gets like blown up, and
I would agree. And you don't even see a body.
no,
Which I love when he's firing at Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris is just like serpentining and like dodging the bullets, and then
Yeah.
throws the grenade. Like hilarious.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
which is tossed to him by the FBI guy, which is just great.
yeah. I mean, overall, again, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I've been seeing a lot of shit movies. It's weird. A lot of new movies to me just don't do it for me. I don't know what it is. They just don't have stakes. They don't have emotional stakes. Like, for example, I just saw A Quiet Place Day 1. And that movie, being that it's a prequel, literally added nothing to the franchise and told me nothing about the, like, alien invasion that I wanted it to. And, like, all these movies that I think are shit are getting such incredible fucking reviews. And, like, it's... I don't know if I'm being too picky now or my taste is bad now. And these 80s movies are souring
shitty
me
80s taste in
but I love it.
now.
It's such a guilty pleasure, and that's why I love this, and I love this movie. It just was so entertaining and so fun. And again, it's like I go back to literally what I wanted to name this podcast originally. They don't make them like they used to. Like, that's just the going phrase for all these movies we watch is they don't make them like they used to.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest problem now is that they're not making movies for audiences to enjoy. They're making movies to make money. And it's not about
It's about the
how
machine.
you- how you
It's
feel
disappointing.
about the movie or how like and I think they're making movies for critics, not audience members.
It's dumb.
Which is
It's
also
disappointing.
where I think a lot of movies fall like really flat. And you can see it in like the Rotten Tomatoes scores when they get like 96% critic score and like 20% audience score. It's like, oh, that's probably a terrible movie.
And I think I'm sure there's some levity to like, oh, like we pay critics, or like, you know, this critic has a lot of stake in this studio, or like, you know, certain websites are affiliates of a certain studio. You know, there's a lot of politics behind it, I'm sure, and it's disappointing. I mean, I've got some movies coming up that I'm looking forward to, and if they're bad, I'm like done with going to movies this year. and it's Long Legs, which comes out in like a week, which looks incredible.
That's more of like a independent kind of movie, so that might actually,
Yes,
there's a decent chance that'll be okay.
For some reason, horror movies have been like my go-to for like movies I've enjoyed lately, and my theater going experience has been excellent, like Barbarian and Talk to Me. I know we're getting way off topic, but Long Legs and Alien Romulus, those are the two movies I'm looking forward to the most. We'll see if they can tickle my fancy.
Well, both of those in different ways, but they seem to they're trying to do something. Hold on, I misspoke that whole sentence. Both of those movies are trying to do a similar thing in that they're like kind of hearkening back to a like more practical kind of filmmaking.
Yes.
And like that's where I think things need to start moving.
And that's kind of what we've talked about in our last few podcasts, is like, we like practical, we like, you know, like Scanners with the head blowing up. We like all that. We like fun, we like entertaining, and like the movies are just going far away from that. So, and that again, that's why I bring this up, is I like this movie because it's just pure entertainment. It's fun. It's goofy. Yeah, it might be taking itself a little too serious, but that's what makes it fun. Especially I said in the beginning of this podcast, like there's a drinking game based on this movie. I want to play this game because it sounds fun. So next time maybe we're in person, we'll have to do like a live thing and do like
There's so many Rangers in this movie.
we do like sips of beer, not like shots, because we'd be fucked up if we did shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd be curious to see if anyone has seen this movie, because I hadn't heard of this movie prior to obviously this podcast, which I kind of mentioned in the beginning, looking up 80s movies. But I definitely want people to watch this movie.
Yeah, it's worth watching. I kind of gave it a little bit of shit, but it's at least entertaining.
Yeah,
at a bare minimum.
Yeah, and I don't know. I want to show I want to tell my friends to watch, other of our friends to watch this movie. Be like, if you need a fun, stupid movie, fucking watch this movie, because it's just it's 80s and it's worth a watch.
That's what it's there for. It's if you got a couple hours to kill and you want to be entertained, that's exactly what this movie is there for.
It's not a flawless movie. No, it's not without its flaws. But this movie also makes me very excited to watch more Chuck Norris movies, because I've only seen one other Chuck Norris. I mean, like I said, I watched Walker, Texas Ranger as a kid and loved it. Mm-hmm. There was another movie I loved as a kid that I haven't seen in a long time called Sidekicks. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
So this is the premise is awesome. It's a kid in school, a younger kid that imagines he's in Chuck Norris movies.
Okay.
And then goes on to do a karate competition, and it's a blast. Granted, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember loving it as a kid. I'm pretty sure it's the 90s. It's definitely not the 80s, but I'm looking forward to more Chuck Norris movies like Code of Silence and Delta Force. Yeah. We'll definitely...
That's probably his most well-known, right?
Yeah.
I think it's Delta Force.
I have no idea. I don't know. I never really was a Chuck Norris fan.
Yeah, for
in terms
10
of his
years
movies.
of my life, I loved Chuck Norris jokes, but had never seen a single thing that he was ever in. So
yeah, pretty interesting how he has entered pop culture in that regard of just and I think it's almost, I mean, obviously it's a parody of just him being a badass, but also he is a fucking badass.
Yeah, he's one of those people that it's. You might not think it, but he actually is
yeah,
yeah. I mean, Arnold and Stallone. It's I get it. You're ripped and you're 6'2". Chuck Norris is also short, like Tom Cruise we were talking about. But yeah, and he's a total ninja. So
I want to see how short he really is. If it'll tell me.
I feel like he's taller than Tom Cruise. Maybe
he's 5'8", maybe 5'9".
Yeah.
Let's see. 5'8.5".
Yeah. So.
Yeah. He's he's 84 right now. He's old.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
The last time I saw him in a movie was Dodgeball, I think.
Thank you, Chuck Norris. He's been in the Expendables movies, but I don't think he's had a huge role. But he pretty much retired. Next time we do a movie, we'll look into him and see kind of what he's done and if he's retired and stuff like that. We'll look into that next time.
Yeah.
Which we'll have one in the future for sure. Another Chuck Norris movie, because this movie definitely makes me want to watch more of his movies, which I love. Seems like a really cool action star.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I definitely did. I thought it was super fun. And definitely watch this movie if you haven't. Highly recommend it, just for some fun and some shits and gigs laughs. Mm-hmm. But this definitely is a good addition to our America month. It's very American, very Texas, and definitely looking forward to the next one, because I haven't seen it as well. And I don't. Have you seen Red Dawn?
No, I haven't. I'm ready to kick some commie ass. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yep. So that's next on the docket. So watch that one before we do the podcast, or watch it after and listen. But either way, that's kind of the goal. Again, we want you to watch the movie and then listen to our podcast and see if you kind of align with our thoughts and feelings on these 80s movies. So thanks, guys, for listening.
See ya.